Good afternoon. Some of you might remember me from my presentation in 2018, when I recited the I Have a Dream speech by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I was 13 years old, and as an aspiring doctor, I remember feeling honored, proud, and inspired in the presence of so much Black excellence. Little did I know that I was also in the presence of vital heroes who courageously worked during the spread of one of the deadliest health crises of our time, COVID-19. And while exhausted, they went beyond their duty by providing loving compassion when they found themselves as the only human contact a patient could have. Watching TV and learning about these nurses holding hands and phones so that a loved one could say a final goodbye was one of the most heartbreaking moments I witnessed. And so for your bravery, resilience, and service, I thank you all. Today, I will recite a poem by Amanda Gorman, The Hill We Climb. Does anyone remember her inaugural poem? Yes, I will be reciting The Hill We Climb in appreciation of you, the SEPABNA, and your courage to always share and be the light. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade, we braved the belly of the beast and learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the notions and norms of what just isn't always justice. And yet, the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that is not broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and time where a skinny Black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother, can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we're far from polished, far from pristine, but that does not mean that we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all colors, cultures, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gaze not to what stands between us, but to what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms and reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew, even as we hurt, we hoped, even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. And if we are to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all of the bridges we've made. This is the promise to glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it. It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, that would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And that effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith, we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter within ourselves. So while we once asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe, we now assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what once was, but to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know that our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of our next generation and become our future. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. Let us leave behind a country better than the one that we were left. Every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the golden hills of the West. We will rise from the windswept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover. And from every known nook of our nation, every corner called our country, our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we are brave enough to see it. If only we are brave enough to be it. Thank you. Thank you so much.